latest on Cyclone Luban, which has moved only 7 miles in the last 13 hours, barely moving at all. Category 1, 75 miles per hour, 981 millibars, weakened slightly since the last update. At 7 p.m. Gulf Standard Time, October 11th, it was located at 14.6 north, 58 degrees east. A stage 4 on the CDPS though, still extensive damage possible, and you can see how symmetrical the wind field is looking at that latest update. So the distances from the last update have barely changed at all. 308 miles from Salalah in southern Oman, and that is one area that we are watching out for potential tropical storm force winds. It was already affected by Mekunu earlier this year, and we've put a watch area around that now for southwestern Oman into Yemen. And obviously we'll be looking out for tropical storm conditions to be occurring there. Quite possible, depends just how far north the storm goes, and if it continues to stall it could feasibly weaken quite a lot more yet. But if it does get going, it may stay as a Category 1 cyclone as it continues towards the west-northwest, towards the coast of the Arabian Peninsula. We're still looking now at a landfall just over the border in Yemen. GFS there still quite bullish actually, could still be a hurricane force storm, and then curving off towards the north as it moves inland over the desert and dying off early on next week. Of course, this storm will deliver copious amounts of rainfall to those areas concerned, and that could possibly be the main deal from this storm. Temperatures on the seas there, 27 or 28 degrees, which is ample, and inland you can see much warmer temperatures, of course, because of the land heating during the day. So now looking at the wind field, the green areas denoting tropical storm force winds, gale force winds, and the yellows, if you can see them, that's hurricane force winds, and the GFS model thinks that it could still make landfall as a Category 1 in Yemen, just over the border from Oman, with tropical storm force winds possible briefly in Salalah. The storm then moving off towards the north, losing its winds pretty quickly, still holding on to quite a bit of rain though until maybe into Monday. These are the chances of tropical storm force winds. These haven't changed very much either because the forecast really hasn't changed very much. 25% in Salalah and 85% in Al Ghaida in eastern Yemen, I think one of the most easternmost towns in Yemen. So looking at the other models, you can see their GFS probably on the highest end of the forecast there. The HWRF also calling for a secondary peak as a Category 1 just before landfall after weakening a little in the meantime. Wind shear remains fairly low, will be below 10 knots for the next 4 days, and that could take 4 days for the storm to arrive at its landfall location. Sea surface temperatures, according to these model runs, only just sustainable though for tropical cyclone development, and the model runs starting to home in a little bit more on eastern Yemen. So this is how the storm's actually been looking today. You can see the bands just off the coast of Oman, not really affecting the coast very much, maybe a bit breezy, but in terms of heavy amounts of rainfall, not so much at the moment, maybe little bits here and there. It's not a particularly wet storm when you look at the convection on here, but there is still time for that to occur, and you can see again, looking at the water vapor imagery here, how the storm's been developing there in the last few hours. We'll have more on this as it progresses. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com with the latest. You can also find our YouTube page, you're probably there already, but if not, subscribe if you haven't so far. You can also find our Facebook page, Force 13 all in text, and it's at Force 13 on Twitter if you'd like to get in touch with us on there. You can also help the project become even better by enjoying the benefits of patronage. You can find out more information about how to become a patron and what those benefits are at patreon.com/Force13. You can also add Force 13 on Skype and Fool 13 at extension 9094 on Discord for tropical weather chat.